Greetings, Ferment listeners. My name's Mike O'Brien, director of the Vineyard School of Worship. Vineyard Worship Essentials is happening this summer. We are so excited to share with you this video series. We've dreamed of it for years, and now it's here. Join us in exploring what it means to be a worship leader in the Vineyard movement. Our Essentials series, led by experienced Vineyard worship leaders and pastors, offers a comprehensive training program for worship leaders at all stages of development. You can watch the material on your own, at your own pace, or consider joining one of our summer cohorts. For over 8 weeks, you'll engage in lively discussion with other worship leaders from around the country and world, growing together in your leadership skills. You'll form lasting connections with your cohort, and you'll have a trusted leader to help guide you through the material. Go to vineyardworship.com/essentials to register today. The space in our cohorts is limited and it's filling up, so register today. vineyardworship.com/essentials. Register today.
All right, what's up, Fermenters? New episode here with my friend Mike O'Brien in Atlanta. What's up, Mike?
What's happening, Adam?
Oh, just prepping for the holidays, baby. It's the kickoff to summer.
I feel like I could be, like, how podcasts always have the host? I feel like I could be your permanent sidekick.
That's fine. I wish you would be.
And
you're welcome to join every single week.
I feel like we could riff. These podcasts are easy and really fun.
That's right.
Just because we've known each other for so long.
It really helps. It really helps. Okay, well, let's just fill everybody in on what we're going to talk about today. This episode will drop on Memorial Day, Monday, which is like the kickoff to summer. And it got me thinking, things change in church during the summer. We call it summer pool. You kind of grow in the spring, you come down to summer pool, you grow in the fall. And so I just wanted to talk about leading worship during the summer with you. So let me just set this up for you, Mike, and then you can open up with whatever riff you want.
Sure.
After this Sunday, school's going to be out, kids are going to be home. All the college kids you've gotten to come to your church are going to go back. Other college kids who grew up at your church are going to return. Families are going to go on vacation. Just talk to me about some of the challenges and opportunities for worship leaders this time of year.
Yeah, summertime. I'm thinking of the memories that I've attached being a worship pastor, maybe 30 years with summertime. I think of the heat. My guitar strap and like taking off my guitar and my back being soaking wet, even in, just like really like back when I used to break strings and sticks. When you're younger, you break things, you get hotter, you sweat. So I think of that. I think of the smaller bands. I think of sound guys not showing up just randomly. I think of people telling me that they would be somewhere, but then they snap pictures of them being on the beach. I think of being really jealous and irritated that my pastor is out of town, and seeing him or her, enjoying the beach while I'm back home working hard. Empty buildings, like during the week. I think of rest and rebuilding things, like cleaning things, spring cleaning in the summer. Really fun hangs, like at the beach or at the rich guy's pool, just memories of like fun summer times with the worship team, and like nights of worship where only a few people show up, but you play for an extra hour and it's just really fun, and you hang out late because nobody's got anything to do the next day. So just, in training and pilgrimage to whatever conference. So there's just so many memories that's attached to this time of year. And as I've gotten older, a lot of the things that make me anxious or felt like challenges now feel like huge opportunities. And I literally don't sweat it as much.
Okay, well let's just pause right there. What used to make you anxious but now feels like a relief or you don't
Yeah,
sweat it?
well, if I would see other staff members enjoying the beach back in the day, I used to get mad and be like, dude, what the heck? I didn't schedule any time off. I should have taken, whereas now, like, I'm right on top of it with everybody else. I'm like, oh, you guys are going? Well, I'm going too. I'm going to be gone these 2 weeks. And, sorry, but I get to be gone too. So instead of like just being exceedingly altruistic and saying, I'll take one for the team, I actually say, no, I'm going to be gone too. And we're just going to figure this thing out. Another thing is like the expectation of the pastor. I've had different kind of pastors. Some of you guys have pastors that they'll say things like the kingdom doesn't stop.
Yeah.
The gospel doesn't stop. Every Sunday matters. And I just think a lot of that's unhelpful kind of language and expectation, that there is rhythm of rest, even within the church rhythm of 52 weeks. Like it's okay that we're just not going all for it. So I have less anxiety about that. My general thought is I'm going to suggest, hey, let's dial it down some of these weeks, and I'll kind of fight for that, knowing that that's good for me, but it's really good for the church that we're not firing on all cylinders all the time.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe you're answering this a little bit. Let me just get real specific here.
Yeah.
What's kind of your approach to leading worship during the summer?
My general thought is I'm not going to fight it, right? So even like the heat, like your hoodie that you try to keep going through the spring, like eventually you got to just put that thing in storage. You're not going to need it. So quit fighting it. Don't try to fight it, especially in these smaller, medium-sized churches. Like, it's okay to do what the community is doing instead of trying to be like, I'm going to do even more. Right? I used to think like that, like, ooh, now's an opportunity for me to dial it up because there'll be people back. And in a way that it is, but not necessarily Sunday morning stage. So, I just think the rhythms of the church are important, and this summer rhythm is really sweet. So definitely dialing back the word rest. Oftentimes, for whatever reason, I think Psalm series. If I was the pastor, I'm like, man, let's do 8 summer psalm series, because sometimes preaching those, it's a little known secret in the preacher world that, if you want to sleep one week, you just do a psalm, because you can kind of don't have to be as robust in your scholarship with that, or you don't, there's more grace for that. So psalm series, rest series, Sabbath, different preachers, different worship leaders, taking risks with instruments, things you haven't played before, things other people haven't played before, taking risks with volunteers, ensembles. I think of projects. Sometimes there's a summer project of like, we're going to clean out the back room.
Yes.
Yes. We're going to move from analog to digital. We're going to optimize Planning Center, right? All the crap that you have piled up in your inbox or in the back of Planning Center. Man, let's just take this summer and let's just clean all that out. So by the time we get around to the fall, we're just going to be ready. The clutter's going to be gone,
Yeah, last summer, I think it was last summer, I told Glenn, I said, hey, will you go through our music rooms and will you just sell everything you don't want? I don't even want to talk to you about it, right? Like, so don't come to me.
Sure.
You sell if you don't want it, you sell it. It's your call.
Yep.
Sell it and then pool all the money together and then let's buy something cool.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's a perfect summer project. Sell those 3 amps you haven't turned on in a year. Sell that drum kit you haven't used. And then, buy yourself an analog Moog or something. Like, do something like something brand new.
Yeah. Think of opportunities for cleaning things out, because this really is a great time to do that. There's just, you're not having nonstop meetings and things are able to just scale back, and you might find yourself a few extra Tuesdays or Thursdays to chill out. Some other things I think about in the summer is, hey, this is where I'm going to look forward to. I basically am looking at 3 dates. I'm looking at the back to school date. Like, hey, what's that going to be? Is that September 7th? Is that August 19th? Like, when is that back to school Sunday? Okay, that's a target. So I know what the on-ramp is. Now I can relax and build into it. Also, Christmas and Easter, dare I say, those are the next 2 big guys coming up. I'm just going to make a couple notes about each of those. So it might be, I'm going to go ahead and book the cellist for those 2 dates.
That's
I'm going to
right.
go ahead and say to the pastor, hey, can we get a theme for those two? And that way I'm just going to start working on it. Just make little investments, right? Little somethings in the summer of those big days. Yeah, and like you said, find a project. A lot of times it's a songwriting. It's like, hey, let's work on our Christmas song this summer. We're going to have a little something to do,
Yeah. You mentioned something a moment ago. I think you were kind of talking opportunities in the summer or the way you approach summer. You talked about inviting in guest worship leaders. Just say more about that, because I love that. I love sharing our stage with other people. Either, maybe some people who are semi-local in the Vineyard. I love having those people come over and just lead worship. There's always a gift given, and there's always a gift received whenever that happens, and it's so worth it. I'd love to just hear you talk about it.
Yeah, sometimes you invite a worship leader because you want something to be huge and blow up, and you want to put gasoline on the fire. You want to make what's great even greater with an outside voice. So you invite in David Arus or Annabeth to your church, and you say, my goodness, we're going to blow this thing out. But sometimes just in a churchman co-laborer sense, you can call upon the worship leaders within your community and your region to say, hey, I'm going to be out these 2 dates. Would you be able to come in and it's probably just going to be a regular Sunday, maybe even less. Will you just kind of come be my person, right? And make some investments that week. So it'll be a win for the people that are there, but not huge expectations, right?
Right.
Just 10,000 reasons, breathe, and, and a hymn or something. Just
we're good.
Don't think about it too much, but look for those opportunities and make those asks. On socials, you can just say, hey, I'm going to be gone this date. Is there somebody in my circle that would be available to lead for me? And then, see who hits you up. You might be really surprised of who's available to scratch each other's back and just help each other out,
Well, one of the real gifts that I've received this year, kind of in that vein, is our mutual friend Ronjo. He's only an hour and a half from me, and he's come and led worship here a couple times, and I don't know, it's great. And it hasn't even been for anything, like, I'm using air quotes here, special. It's just been like, hey, why don't you just come over, and it's been a great Sunday.
And it's a huge win, like just saying, hey, bring your kids, bring your spouse, we'll get you guys a hotel. Here's the one cool thing to do in our town.
Right.
Make it a win for your family, kind of like a junior vacation, but you also get to help me out, fill in the gaps. And it could just be really fun and edifying if you're willing to let go of the ego.
That's right.
Oftentimes there's ego and fear that keeps you from making those invitations because you're just worried about what people will think. But my goodness, it's been such a blessing to have that. Basically just trading of the saints in our church. It's been a real sweet gift.
All right, Mike, talk to me about leading worship that's more compelling, but it's acoustic. Because a lot of times in the summer, maybe your best drummer is going to be on vacation. Maybe your only drummer is going on vacation with his family, and then you look up and your electric guitarist is also gone because his best friend is getting married, and your number one background vocalist is out, and then you realize, oh man, it's me and the piano player.
Yeah. I think, well, with some churches, let me just say, even larger churches, I would say upwards of 1,500, I've heard of a psalm series for 8 weeks in the summer where it's acoustic worship and psalm series. So the volume's going to be less, the intensity's maybe going to be a little less, but it's focused. Like this summer we're going to focus on rest. So if it's connected to a sermon series, or like you can, and maybe this is for next year, you say, hey, there's an intentional sermon series built around gearing down. That could be really, really cool and really intentional. So it's not so much the drummer's gone, oh crap, we need to fix that, but it's, hey, we are intentionally doing A, B, and C. Can be really cool, especially in a kingdom-minded church where everything doesn't rely on the hype and triumphalism of keeping this thing going.
Right.
That being said, when you do have some drummerless Sundays, as I always say, turn up the bass in your acoustic guitars, right? Normally we dial out all the low end from our instruments, the pianos and the cellos and the guitars. You want to bring all that low end back, and you want those subwoofers to be rocking. Even on the ballads, you want it to feel low end. So it's kind of a nuanced thing, but I guarantee you that's the secret sauce in a very practical way. Not to mention just having the guts to sing a fast song. It's all for you, Jesus, all for you, just playing a fast song without drums is perfectly fine. There's no reason you have to have drums. Strumming is drumming. If you got a pianist, that's 10 drumsticks making rhythm. So just go for it. Make it exciting. I guarantee you there'll be people that walk up to you and say, I wish we did this every week.
Yeah, that's right.
I wish we kept it chill. I love it like this, right? So just go for it. Do not hold back. I would say that in general. It's not even a summer discussion, but like every blue moon, every great church should have the machine stop and do, 2 or 3 musicians on the stage and make it sound amazing.
Mike, when are you going to make the TikTok video called Strumming is Drumming?
Strumming is drumming. I don't know if I've titled anything that definitely needs to happen, though.
Yeah, put that down.
I've said it a million times.
That's in this. We'll just bookmark it. That's what we're using this episode for.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's switch gears here. Summer's also a great time for education and training. It's a great time. People maybe have a little more time, or they're not going to school.
Sure.
Maybe they're home a little bit more, so maybe they could do some investing in skills. Just what kind of things do you like to see happen in these next, let's say, 8 weeks with, and not just your worship leaders, maybe it's musicians. I'm actually thinking musicians even right now.
Yeah, this is a brilliant time you got 8 or 10 weeks to invest in college kids, middle and high school. So even if it's last minute, even if you're hearing this last minute and you're like, oh man, I should have thought of this, you could do an informal internship this summer. Hey guys, last minute internship. Anybody wants to join me? It's going to be 3 hours every Monday at the church. Call me for more details, right? And you gather some of these young people that literally, if you do not ask them to come hang out at the church and you do not disciple them in the Bible, in the kingdom of God, in musicianship, in hanging out in the staff meeting, in making you coffee, if you do not disciple them in this, they're going to be playing video games. They're going to be scrolling YouTube for hours on end, right? So why not invite them? Make the invitation and put together a little program for 3 hours a week. First hour, go to the prayer room and pray. Here's 3 things to pray about, right? Like that whole kingdom thing, like the inner Pete Gregg and everybody, the inner IHOP, right? Yeah. Develop that, because most people are not doing that. So you force it. You say an hour in the prayer room, an hour just you and I chatting, talking, what did you hear? What are you sensing? And then an hour learning guitar or Nashville numbers or just jamming on the stage, putting together that week's set list. It doesn't have to be so planned out and so technical. So yeah, just if you're part-time, full-time, consider that, because I've done that for so many years, and there's just catalogs and catalogs of people that I look back and say, I'm so stoked that I made that investment, because many of them are musicians. Many of them are doing that very thing. So discipleship kind of can look like that.
All right. We've talked a little bit about this. We talked a little bit about cleaning out the closets, but what other kind of maintenance things need to happen? We just had Easter, and we kind of came down from it. And just like you said, the back to school moment is a really big moment, and then Christmas, and those moments tend to be all consuming for worship leaders and for pastors and staff. So this is our chance to fix some things. Yeah. When you go to churches, Mike, what needs fixing? You see it. You travel to a lot of churches. What's always broken?
Yeah. Well, I've been I'm sure I've been a little late to this party, but I've been listening to the Minimalist podcast. I know it was like a whole thing on Netflix, and Marie Kondo and all that stuff. So I'm a little late to the party, but I've been listening to some of that and just enjoying the, looking at things, saying, Lord, thank you for this thing and everything you did with this thing. Now I'm going to throw it in the trash, right? So, if it's the Hallelujah Glory booklet from Mercy Vineyard in the filing cabinet, I mean, you probably get $20 for it on eBay.
Sure.
So, but just what can you clear out? What clutter can you clear out? That mug that's sitting next to the soundboard full of pens that don't work and dead Sharpies. Can you just turn that thing upside down and let all those paper clips out and then clean it and then get some Sharpies at work, right? Just, stuff like that, like really practical, replacing the heads on the drum set, just doing all that maintenance kind of things, or just having somebody help you do that can be really good, really helpful. Like I said, PCO, worshipteam.com, going into your administrative systems and cleaning things out, things that just make life easier when everything's going crazy can be really helpful. And for me, like I've got a lot of creative ideas that I catalog via to-do apps or in books, and I need to summarize them. Because it brings me anxiety just thinking about it. So for you and I to kind of clear out some of that stuff can really prepare us for the new year, or the new school year, I should say.
Yeah, this is also a good moment to do some stage reset too. Like maybe your drum kit has been in the same spot for 4 years. Like move it. One of the things I've noticed, and this is really funny, every time we move the drum kit on stage, the band just plays better.
Sure.
It's weird.
Yeah.
You just change one thing and everybody's like, oh, this is new. This is fun again.
Yeah, you just mix it up, My heavy metal band used to practice in college, and my mom would come by and clean up after us in our rehearsal space. And she thought the drummer ate cookies because there was always the shavings of the drum. She thought, why does he eat so many cookies? No, we just, so just cleaning that rug that the drum sits on, it might make things 3% more inspirational, but you start adding up 3% in a bunch of different areas, it can be really, really helpful. So yeah, clean up.
That's right. Hey, Mike, how do you do vacation? Do you and Susan, are you summer vacation people? Or do you guys do some stuff like multiple times a year? Talk to me about time off.
Well, I've learned the rhythm. Usually the pastor gets first dibs, or whoever gets, it seems counterintuitive, but whoever gets paid the most in the church maybe has the most responsibility or the most weight. They often get first dibs on the calendar. So once they choose when they're going to go, what I found in the past is usually I would end up needing a vacation when they got back. And that's when they come back with vision and they're ready to go, right? So that doesn't work. So what I've learned to do is I actually take my vacations in May, kind of like the 1st of May, which works for me because we're homeschooled. So I know that doesn't work for a lot of people, but I try to find creative places to put those vacations where I'm definitely getting out of town. But for me, what matters is 2 Sundays in a row. And really, depending on where you're at in life and ministry, sometimes 3 Sundays in a row can give you a really hard reset. But 2 Sundays in a row, nothing beats it. I find a lot of people try to do that 12-day thing where they leave on Monday and they come back the next Saturday. And that's cool. That might be faithful, what you need to be doing at a certain season in your church. But if you got some leaders, you got people in place, my goodness, 2 weeks in a row is great. So just in general, even if it's a staycation, clocking out of church and responsibilities and doing that email thing where it says, Mike O'Brien will not be available until blah. That alone is so brilliant. Putting stuff on social, hey guys, I'm going on vacation. People just leave you alone, I found. It's just helpful. And they help step up, to lead because they know you're gone. So, just different patterns. You gotta find what works for you. There's a couple things I wanted to say about, as I travel, I've noticed that like certain places like Minnesota or Arizona are different than California or Florida, right? So some places literally clear out because they're so cold most of the time that people in the summer, most of them leave, right?
Yeah.
Whereas in a lot of places, it's only the wealthy. Oftentimes, the wealthier the congregation, the more vacationing there is. So if you're in a really poor place or a rural place, it's kind of like, what are you talking about? Summer, everybody's just here. We're just grinding and working. So just knowing your culture, knowing your region is really important, and kind of the climate, right? Literally the climate, how that works. You might change up Sundays. You might change the hour that you meet. You might get rid of Thursday rehearsal and just do Sunday morning rehearsal in the summers, or make Thursday night like movie night or something with your people. And then finding space for those younger people that are just sitting around, giving them something to do, letting them record on Logic up at the church and go for, just finding creative ways to put people to work. You got to know your place and your peoples.
Yeah, man. So good. So good. Well, Mike, thanks for jumping on here. It's good to have your voice. You're right. We could riff like this every single week. We'll have to do a branch off podcast.
Absolutely. And this summer, in just a few days, if you're hearing this on Monday or Tuesday, starting Wednesday on the what is this going to be, the 31st of this month? We're in 2023. So the 31st, our Vineyard Worship Essentials goes live this week.
Right.
So we've been planning, filming these incredible videos from worship leaders and pastors within our movement. This is the cream of the crop. This is something we've been dreaming of for years and years. We've got tons of teaching and videos and John Wimber quotes, we've put everything together for training for our movement for Vineyard worship leaders. So if you want to, worship leader, you have some time to give this summer, you can simply audit the course, vineyardworship.com/essentials. You can audit the course, watch the material whenever you're ready, or you can go through it as a cohort once a week, have a Zoom discussion, go the distance with some people. And Vineyard USA has thrown us a huge bone in offering, basically taking off hundreds of dollars this first summer to make it doable. So check it out, vineyardworship.com/essentials. We've already got over 50 people signed up.
Yeah.
And I think we're probably going to have over 100. So, and we'll keep doing it. And like I said, you can audit the course, but check that out. We are so stoked for that. And it actually hits this week.
That's right. I'm so excited. And we've been talking about the kinds of things you would want to do in the summer, especially with training and education. This is exactly what I'm talking about, especially on the cohort side. My goodness, just like jump in, get a new rhythm, find some new friends. Let's go.
I'm so stoked.
So am I. I was even looking, sidebar here, I was even looking on some of the back-end Kajabi stuff that Melissa has nearly exploded her brain building. It's going to be so good. Just the interactive possibilities for the cohort in particular, so good.
Yeah, we really planned it for a hot minute. Like we planned it. We kind of tried to make it as timeless as possible when we filmed it. It's essentially talking heads talking for anywhere from 8 minutes to 28 minutes on a value or something that's important to us as kind of the Vineyard people. And it's just so compelling, like the notes and the questions and the ministry prompts. You are not going to lose or waste a moment of your time going through this material. And it's so crazy affordable. I just hope you guys know about it. Hope that it's going to be a great resource for you this summer, and really for the next several years, it's going to feed us. So
that's right. All right, Mike. Hey, we'll do it again real soon.
Hey, thanks so much, Adam.
Peace.
Hey everyone, Casey Corum here, producer of the podcast. Thanks for listening. As always, if you've been enjoying the podcast, here's a few ways you can help us. First of all, leave us a review on the podcast platform of your choice. This helps more people find us. Also, connect with us on social media, Instagram at the Ferment Podcast and Twitter at FermentCast. All right, everyone, thanks for listening. See you next week. Peace.